I am Jason Jeff's brother. Oh, you gotta sit down first. That was an interesting speech. I know you really well, and your friends are here, and I didn't think you were that nice. That's just like, some of that stuff, like when they say you get to know someone, you get married. This is you. That was that speech. Here's the thing, this is my second time being a best man. First time, I didn't know you're supposed to write down the speech. So I kind of winged it and embarrassed myself. This time I just plain forgot. She said anything possible nice. No, I'm just kidding, Jeff. I actually wrote some stuff down this time. You're not going to like it, but I wrote it down. Just because I wrote it down does not mean it's all good. For people who know Jeff, they always come up to me and go, why is Jeff the way Jeff is? Not that he's a bad person, he's unique, his sense of humor is quirky. That's fair, it's accurate, right? Yeah, it's accurate. I think it's because, well, first of all, a couple of things. When he grew up, it could be bumps to the head. Unfortunately, when you were, how old were you in 85? You were what, 7? That was about the time Hulk Hogan burst on the scene. And when you're a little brother, when that kind of thing gets popular, you get dropped on your head a few times. Most of which you probably blacked out for and don't remember, but that's okay. Also, my friend Mike and I, and he was, and I know, I love you, you love me, we know that. But I didn't want to hang out with my little brother, so when we used to go, my friend used to go swimming all the time. Jeff would desperately want to go swimming in the summer, so we had this lie. Do you remember what the lie was? Yeah, we used to tell him we were going to Salvation Army meetings. And he'd ask us what that meant, and we'd just be like, oh, it's crazy, it's for older kids, no. Why do you bring towels? Well, at the end, they throw you in water. So we cut him off kind of socially. And I kind of feel bad about that. And I think the last one, I had this friend Kyle, who, for those who are familiar with the Friday the 13th horror films, I can tell, especially from this table, you guys are probably big fans of horror films. Just stereotyping. Yeah. There was this one sound, and we used to freak him out. Do you remember the sound we used to do? He would literally cry. So if you ever wonder why he's jumpy, that's probably why. When I started thinking about these things with Jeff, it started to make me realize just how lucky Melissa was to marry him. And not marry child Jeff. Here are a couple observations and things that you would have gotten, okay, had you married child Jeffrey. First of all, Jeff had a friend growing up named Luke, whose wife is here. I don't know if you know this story. If you married child Jeff, Melissa, guess what? He'd never spend the night. Really, he wouldn't. And around midnight, you'd have to drive him to his house. He would go on these sleepovers with Luke, and at like midnight, Luke's dad would show up, knock on the door. He's just crying. He wants to come home. He doesn't want to be here. So be thankful. He's outgrown that. Second, and I really apologize to both you and our dad for this story, but it's the truth. And are you sweating a little? Are you sweating? No? It's hot. Oh, it's not from this. Okay. My brother at about 4 years old. God, this is really embarrassing, but that's what this speech is for, right? Applaud for that, so at least he feels like I'm doing the right thing. Now they got my back. You're done. No, okay. So my brother at like 4 years old had this thing after he'd used the potty. I'll keep this as clean as possible. Where he would yell, "Dad!" because he needed a little help in the TP department. About 4 years old. Yet Jeff also had a temper. So my dad would use this against it. Kids who celebrate Christmas would get the warning about Santa won't come. I guess my dad had to do something else because we didn't have Santa. So when my brother would act up, and this is a quote, he denies saying this, but I remember it stuck in my brain. Jeff would act up, and he'd say, "You better act good, or you're going to end up in jail." And you know what happens in jail? There's no one to wipe your tushy. And for the most part, I don't think you've ever been arrested. And finally, actually that happened last night. I was going to say how scared you were of spiders. You know he's scared of spiders? Last night, this is a true story. This isn't even part of my notes. Last night, we saw a spider in our hotel room. And he goes, "Kill it, I'm scared." I didn't know this. I went to squish it, it fell on the floor and ran away. And he goes, "No, I'm not gonna be able to sleep." But we moved the bed. We moved the bed to find the spider. And he's like, "Thank you so much." So congratulations, Melissa, you're married a beautiful woman. All right, I gotta actually grab something here. Actually, Jeff, if you could just grab, there's underneath Melissa, underneath there is a card. Just put it on your lap real quick, if you don't mind. We want to see, it's just something I thought I'd do, and this is just something I'm just curious to see, because I don't get to see Jeff, because I live in California. I want to see if Jeffrey's really ready for marriage. He's prepared. Okay, actually, if you could just give that to him, put that on his lap, just leave it on your lap flat. It's time for the Is Jeffrey Ready to Be a Newlywed game. Okay? No, just leave it alone. Don't look. Don't look. Can I have the music, please? Okay, we got this all set up. Are you guys ready for the game show? All right. Question number 1. Jeff, you and Melissa are walking on a beach together. When you walk by 2 models in bikinis, what do you do? Do you A, turn your head and take in the view because they're hot bikini models? Or B, what are you talking about? Other women, the only woman I'll ever look at again is Melissa. A or B? He says B, everybody! Hey! All right. Question number 2. Melissa suggests that you give up drinking. What do? Do you tell her that's none of her business? You don't drink that much anyway. Or B, you quit drinking. A or B? B! He said B again! Well, look at that. That's a good answer. That's the right answer? Okay. Or C. As you know, Jeff is an alumni of Ohio State.
OH! All
right. Melissa, an alumni of Penn State. Tricky question, Jeff. You were at an Ohio State, Penn State football game together. What do you wear? A, and what do you do? A, Ohio State scarlet and gray while leading chants of OH.
Ohio!
OH.
Ohio!
Or B, that's a stupid question. I'm going to wear Penn State blue and white because now that I'm married, I'll never leave the house without matching my wife. Oh yeah, on a side note, Joe Paterno is the greatest human being alive. A or B? Jeff, raise the card. No, give it to Jeff. Jeff, give a choice, A or B. Put that down. Hang on. Put that in his hand. Put that in his hand. A or B? A or B? Jeff, you can decide. You're a grown man. You're married now. Let go of it, Melissa. Hold it up. A or B? I'm sorry. What's that? See, here's the problem. Show him the card. It's marriage. You have no decisions. I have one quick thing for you. Jeff got all the answers correctly, so I have a prize for Melissa. Now, the following is a made-up story, but the symbolism I'm going for is going to be worth it, I hope. It's a made-up story. Just follow me here. When Jeff was little, his favorite game to play was marbles. And he thought years ago that the marbles were gone, lost in a flood. Oh. I found them. You thought they were gone, Jeff. This is for you. This shows just how much he means to you. That he knows about this. He was willing to give you these because you're now married. Open those up. It's just down there. If you're looking for sentimental, this isn't it. No, it's in there somewhere. In retrospect, this was not worth it. Look, it's Jeffrey's marbles in a jar. And now she owns them. Yeah. Great idea when I was half asleep. Just remind him of that when he acts up, because he will. No, okay, we're not going to wrap it up, so you guys got to eat. Jeff is a great brother. He's, you're a little uptight. This is actually the moment I knew Melissa was right for him. The first time we met her, Jeff started to get a little upset about something. He was, I'm going to go out to you about something. And she leaned over to him and she goes, relax, it's no big deal. And then he smiled, which no one in our family could get him to do. Really, and that was like the moment I was like, I leaned over to my wife and I was like, wow, that's just, she is good for him. She understands him and she knows how to make him a better person, which is what marriage is all about. She'll fix you up perfect. But the best part about marriage for the two of you is taking all the weird stuff from your childhood and growing up and bringing it together and getting rid of all the stuff you hated about growing up. Not that there's anything bad about our parents, but sometimes you want to do things different. You get to scrap all that stuff and start over with your new traditions. And you guys can start doing your new things. And love you both. Welcome to our family, Melissa. You found someone great, Jeff. And I want to say, raise your glasses again. Happy to have you in the family as I lose this thing. to Jeff and Melissa, enjoy his marbles in the jar. Love you guys, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, two great toasts. Come on, put your hands together.